Hey everybody, Ian Lee here. Hope y'all are doing well. In today's video, I want to talk about practicing and playing through chord scales. I do have the beginner in mind here, not necessarily the beginner guitarist. Fine if you are a beginner guitarist, but just someone who's never played through a chord scale before or worked through this idea before. Always great to review if you have done this stuff before. So they're really easy as a whole, and they can really open up the sound and feel of harmony on the guitar neck as we begin to explore them. And man, once the concept of a chord scale really locks in and it makes more and more sense and you get more experience with it, it can open up so many possibilities, and it's such a fun way to play our guitar. It's such a fun way to hang out with the instrument and hang out with music. So let's dive in. We'll just get right into it. The first voicing we're going to be using is going to be a four-note triad. What is a four-note triad? Well, it's going to be the three primary notes that make up our triad, either major, minor, diminished, or augmented. And then we'll have one of those notes doubled. If you're not familiar with this, you already do it. So let's just look at something that you already do, and that way you can see this in action. This C major chord that we know, if we leave out the low and the high E string, these are four-note triads right here. This is a four-note triad. So we've got C, E, and G. That makes up C major, those three notes. And then if we toss this C note on the top, well, now we have a doubled note inside of the chord. And now we have a four-note triad. So it's a triad that, again, has a doubled note. The voicing we're going to use for our chord scale is also a four-note triad, but we'll have a slight reordering of the notes. So it's going to be this shape, this voicing. I'm sure you've all used this before. It's almost like a power chord, if you're familiar with that. You're just going to take that third finger, lay it flat, create a bar. And the bar is going to play the D, G, and B strings, okay? You could also, if you were familiar with the cage system and the way those shapes work, it looks like this A from the cage system. Okay, so I'm going to call out these notes really quick here so we get an idea. We have C on the A string. We have G on the D string. We have C again on the G string, so there's our doubled note, the octave. And we have E on the B string, and I'm playing the third and the fifth fret. Okay. Now, we're going to go through the C major scale, and as we do this, I want to present an idea to you that I really just got a hold of and began to really see and understand in the last couple of years. And if this is, I wish I'd learned this earlier on as I was practicing chord scales and getting a handle on harmony. Each of these voicings inside of this chord are all just parts of the C major scale. And they're all just individual voices that we happen to be playing at the same time, creating the sense of harmony. And then what we do is we move each note up to go through the C major scale. Now that may seem simple. Of course, many great things and ideas are simple in essence, but there's a lot of depth to that. And once we understand and see these ideas and see these chords as individual voices that we can move and play with, that's where things really begin to open up, in my opinion, humble opinion. So let's take this C major up to our next chord. So again, if we just follow the C major scale, we'll take C, move it up to D. We'll take G, move it up to A. We will take C, move it up to D again, and E will go up to F. And now we have a D minor. So you notice it's almost the same shape, but we take that note lowered a half step, and that's how we get a minor chord using this particular voicing. And notice again that the root of the chord is doubled an octave up. So again, we're using this four-note triad. We're going to take that exact same shape, we're going to move it up a whole step, E minor. Now we're going to go up just a half step, so we're going to go up to the note F and build our chord off of that. We're going to have a major chord. There's F major for you. we're going to take that same thing, move it up a whole step, going to G. And remember, when you're playing this on your own, just to take your time. There's no rush through this. You can make it very pretty. You can strum the notes individually. You can kind of pluck a few strings and then one string, or one string and then a few strings. You can make music out of scales. Matter of fact, you should be making music out of scales. So now we're going to go from this G chord, and we're going to go up to an A minor. So we're going to use that minor shape we used for D minor and E minor just a minute ago. Okay, and now we're going to make a diminished chord, because this is the way the major scale functions in terms of when we do this kind of harmony and this kind of playing with it. The fingering I'm going to use, and the way this is going to lay out, is you're going to put your first finger on the 14th fret of the A string. Your third finger is going to go kind of like on the 15th fret of the D string. Pinky's going to go on the 16th fret of the G string. And then third finger is going to be on the 15th fret. Is that right? 12, 13, 14, 15? Yes, 15th. I want to double check my work there. On the B string. So you've got B diminished. Okay, and then you'll hear that resolves very nicely, very beautifully up to C major. And now we played through our C major scale in a 4-note triad voicing, or a caged shape, however you want to look at that. So the next thing I want to offer to you, we're going to use more or less the same shape, but we're going to take these chords and turn them into 4-note chords. So yes, we had 4 notes, but since we had a double note, we're still playing the triad. So now we're going to turn these into 7th chords. I don't want to get into the details of the theory of that at the moment, but so just bear with me. Let's just kind of move through it, get the shapes and feel under our fingers, and then hear the sound. And we can talk about the theory another time. So let's again take this shape. Now what I'm going to do is make that power chord again. I'm going to take my pinky, put it on the 5th fret of the B string, that's my E note, and this note C is going to lower a half step to the note B, and now we have a C major 7. So again, instead of having that double note C, it's going down a half step. That's going to make my B note. I have this beautiful C major 7. It's a really pretty chord. Now, the same concept applies. We're just going through the scale, just as if we were doing single notes, right? Every voice in here is just moving up the C major scale. It just so happens they're starting at different points in the scale, and they're moving simultaneously, and we're playing them simultaneously to create the sense and feel of harmony and action. So, again, C is going to go up to D, G is going to go up to A, B is going to go up to C this time, and then E is going to go up to F. So now, instead of this shape for D minor that we had earlier, we're going to pull our pinky off, and we have a D minor 7. Very pretty sound. We're going to take that same shape up a whole step, so 2 frets, E minor 7. Pretty, right? That's good stuff. Now, a half step up, the same shape we used for C major 7, we're going to use here for F major 7. Okay. Now we're going to get a slightly different shape, just by a little bit. What I want you to do is pull your middle finger off the G string and leave that first finger barring. You've got these two guys still exactly where they are. But now we're going to move that same shape up a whole step. Now we have a G7. Okay. And now we're going to make our minor 7 shape again. It's the first one we had down here for D. We used it on E, but it's going to be on A all the way up here now. Getting to the dusty part of the neck here. Okay. And then next, we're going to make what's called a B minor 7 flat 5. You'll also hear the name half diminished. Half diminished isn't one of my favorite terms, but people use it a lot. It's fine. It is what it is. The chord shape in regards to the fingering are going to be close, similar to our earlier diminished chord. We're going to have the first finger on the 14th fret of A, that's a B note. We're going to have the third finger on the 15th fret of D. Okay? We're going to have the second finger on the 14th fret of G, and the pinky on the 15th fret of B. And I recommend you get familiar with that shape. It's very easy to access, and it's got a lot of uses on the guitar if you are unfamiliar with it. Okay, and we can get into that another time. And then you'll hear that's going to resolve beautifully to C major. C major 7, all the way up there. Okay, so that's running 2 chord scales through the major scale. And these are really great things to do, running triads of all kinds, right? 4-note, 3-note, spread voicings, closed voicings, and then running these different kind of 7 chords and these different kinds of extensions as you get familiar with it. What these things can offer you, what they can do for you, is help you to see the way diatonic harmony works in regards to music, where chords tend to naturally lay, can help you get a feel for what key you're in. There's so many applications of chord scales that I can't even begin to think of right now. But much like our scales that we'd play with single note lines and positions or up one string, it's so beneficial. And then what you can do as well is just start, improvising with it a little bit. Just start playing around, creating different feels and ideas. And again, it'll give you a context of how to use these things for yourself. And you'll step into some pretty cool things, I believe. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. My name is Ian Lee. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.